Hey guys, I hope everyone's had a great Christmas and are enjoying the festive holiday period. Today I'm going to be going over a couple of releases that I really enjoyed over the past year. 2023 has been a great year for physical media releases, especially with more and more releases in the 4K format, and there's been a lot of releases that are really good that have been great to add to the collection. What I'm going to do today is just going to have an overview of the top 10 releases that are in my collection that I've picked up this year. There are more films that I really love that have been put out by different labels, but I wanted to highlight the ones that I really enjoyed, and I'm pleased that they're part of the collection. It may be worth noting as well that I've not watched all of the films within these sets, but these are the sets that I've most enjoyed dipping into and out of, and the ones that I'm most impressed from the different labels that have been releasing across 2023. Also, none of this list is going to be ranked apart from my number one box set, which I absolutely adore, so I don't think any of the others knock it off the top spot, but it's going to be interesting to see where the collection's going, where things have been moving in the realm of physical media releases, and I'll kick us off with one that I've literally only just picked up. Radiance is a label that I've been very aware of, and it's been one of those labels that I was quite dubious to dip my toe into. My collection already consists of a lot of different boutique labels, and obviously adding another label to the collection has monetary impact on what I can pick up, what I have to decide to pick up, and as a collector I do try and pick up as many things as I can that I find interesting. I'm not a completionist by any means. The only collection I've ever completed is the Arrow Academy box sets, but because Radiance was another label, I was a bit worried about introducing it to my collection. So for Christmas, with some Christmas money, I've picked up the box set of Peter Sulkin films, the End of Civilization box set from Radiance. And I had no idea what to expect from this. I remember when it was announced, the initial box art really intrigued me. I was interested in see what this was going to be about, and it's very stylized and interesting. And at the time being, I've only watched one of these films so far, and that is The War of the Worlds Next Century. This box set is really well produced. The artwork inside is absolutely gorgeous and it has a bunch of very interesting special features, and Radiance seems to have a very high level of production. This collection includes The War of the Worlds Next Century, Obi, Oba, The End of Civilization, and Gaga, Glory to the Heroes. When I picked this up, I was a bit worried what I was getting into. The only thing I knew about was the artwork for the set. One of the things about having a collection of physical media is that the artwork and the box art and things like that are almost as important as the films included or the special features per se, and this is one that really enticed me. I sat down a couple of days ago, actually on December 28th, and watched War of the Worlds Next Century, and I really enjoyed it. For a film that I knew absolutely nothing about, and a film director I'd never really been introduced to before or gone out of my way to try and discover, some of the stylistic decisions in this were very well handled. I think that the main narrative thread running through it was very interesting, and I really liked the ties with the Orson Welles War of the Worlds from the radio play. The discussion about how media and how the media can influence the public and the way that the public think about things and reality is very key to that film. And after watching that, I cannot wait to get into the rest of the box set. Obi, Oba and Gaga are meant to be quite good as well. Very pleased with it so far. And as my first Radiance release within the collection, I'm very impressed. Next up is a box set of Bergman films. This was the BFI Volume 4 of Ingmar Bergman's work. I love that the BFI have been releasing Bergman films in the UK. For a very long time, they've been very hard to get hands on. I know that Criterion have a wonderful collection out in the States, but as a UK collector, I'm one of those people that's a bit risk averse, and I'd rather not get things shipped in from America just in case there's any damages and import costs and import fees. And the price of that Bergman set was very expensive. I know it contained a lot of films, but as a one-off purchase, it made it very difficult to kind of or tick off. But this is where the BFI editions come in. I've got the other 3 volumes that they've released. I've been really pleased with the quality of these box sets. There's some interesting special features. There's a booklet on the films, and this contains a lot of very good Bergman films towards the end of his career. Probably the standout one for me is Fanny and Alexander, especially around Christmas time. It's one of those films that I'm going to be wanting to watch every so often, every Christmas, and it's a terrific film. It also contains Cries and Whispers, Autumn Sonata, From the Life of Marionettes, both versions of Fanny and Alexander, Scenes from a Marriage, and After the Rehearsal. So this has a bunch more Bergman films for me to work through. I've watched 3 of these so far, I think, and I absolutely loved the ones that I've checked out, and I really like that the BFI have been releasing these. So if you don't have this set or you're interested in Bergman, I highly recommend picking up 1 or 2 of the volumes in the BFI releases, and this was the one that was released this year, so I'm pleased that kind of finishes off the collection of the BFI Bergman releases, and they've been really wonderful to work through. Next up is another box set of films where I've only actually seen one of the films within, and that is the Jerzy Skolimowski box set from Second Run. I wanted to add this to this video because I really wanted to highlight how good Second Run are and really kind of give them a bit of praise. I feel within a lot of boutique label circles, especially on different forums, the Second Run label is one that's often forgotten about. Second Run always deliver very, very high quality versions of films, and Jerzy Skolimowski is a filmmaker that I've been interested in for a while now. I've watched Deep End, which is absolutely terrific. I've also picked up recently EO, his film about the donkey recently, and this is another box set where I'm going to be able to delve into his early works and see how he progressed as a filmmaker, and that's one of the things I love about collecting. So yeah, if you're interested in kind of Polish cinema or Czechoslovakian cinema, highly recommend checking out some of the releases from Second Run. You can't really go wrong with them. The one film within this set that I've seen called Walkover, I very much enjoyed. Some of the stylistic cutting and cross-cutting within this is absolutely incredible. It's very transformative to the medium of film. It reminded me a bit of The Cremator that's also released by Second Run, and the way that the Czech New Wave and Polish filmmakers of that era were creating films feels like another breath of fresh air in regards to the way that New Wave is being appreciated. The French New Wave is very revolutionary, but I feel like the Czech New Wave and Polish films are often easily forgotten by a lot of people, and they need to be remembered and studied. I think these releases are great for people to be able to rediscover them as well, so I highly recommend this. Next up, we have the only 4K... Oh, no, we don't. Next up, we have the first of the Curzon box sets that I'm going to talk about this video, and that is the Three Colors trilogy from Curzon. This is the Curzon collection 4K and Blu-ray collection. It contains all three films within the Three Colors trilogy. All of them, I believe, are new 4K scans and new 4K transfers. I've rewatched Blue and I've rewatched White. I haven't revisited Red yet, but these films are absolutely incredible. If you're out there and you're a fan of cinema, I highly recommend checking out the Three Colors trilogy. Whether that's going out and checking it out on a streaming service or picking up this edition or the other editions that Artificial Eye released in the past. Krzysztof Kieślowski's trilogy is absolutely impeccable. Rewatching White and Blue reframed in my mind how good of a filmmaker he really is. The way that he merges different aesthetics within the films that he has, the use of close-ups and distortion, and how he seamlessly interweaves that within the narrative and the emotions of the different characters involved as well. I highly recommend this box set. I've really enjoyed working my way through it. I'm looking forward to checking out Red again, and for my money, I think it looks really nice. The actual design of this set is also beautiful. It's really well produced. Curzon have recently been putting out a slew of incredible box sets, which are really lovely to have. The Wim Wenders set from last year or early this year, the Three Colors trilogy in 4K, the Lars von Trier set, and the Ruben Östlund set as well. But for me, I think this is one of the most important collections of films within my collection. I think it's an absolute masterpiece of world cinema, and I highly recommend people check it out if you haven't seen it, and this set is wonderful. Next up is a box set of film noir films. Now this is one of those tricky ones because it's like, which noir set do I talk about? Universal Noir 2 came out this year from Indicator, and that's a really good set as well. But I've gone with the Arrow set, and I've been really interested in the things that Arrow have been putting out over the past couple of years, especially in regards to film noir. When they released the Arrow Academy box set, I loved it. I watched all four of those films, and I really appreciated the work that had gone into the set and the different types of films that they were trying to put out there. Volume 2 that Arrow put out earlier this year, I think in March, I wasn't as impressed with. A couple of the films within that set didn't really gel well with me. I think The Sleeping City was one that I watched and I really didn't like, and it kind of felt like it almost wasn't a noir film at all. So picking up this set and diving into these films has been really enjoyable, and I've really liked working through it. Obviously with Arrow, it comes with some really nice artwork that fits in line with the other box sets that they've released. It comes with a bunch of special features, a lovely booklet with the films. One of the films from this set I'd recommend checking out if you can get your hands on is Ride a Pink Horse. I very much enjoyed it. It was a film noir set in Mexico, which I thought was so interesting and engaging. and I've really enjoyed working through this set and exploring more film noir. As I said, there's been a massive release schedule for film noir recently, especially with Indicator. They have maybe 7 film noir sets out now, as well as Radiance also publishing and releasing recently the World Noir series that they're putting out as well. So as someone who loves classic cinema and finds film noir quite endearing, these kind of films are the ones that you can throw on maybe on a Sunday afternoon, and I've enjoyed watching the films within this set, and I think Arrow have done a great job with this release. Speaking of films that you can easily put on just for a bit of fun, we'll move on to one of the Indicator box sets I've got here, and this is the Mexico Macabre box set. I have to admit, I was a bit dubious about picking this one up. Mexican cinema is not an area of cinema that I know a lot about, and to be honest, that was the only reason I really picked this up to begin with. As my collection grows, I like to discover and explore new cinema from across the globe and explore the different types of films that are being created across all of cinema's history. Now, this set, for me, has been really fun. It's full of films which are really enjoyable, easy to watch. Put them on, they're less than 80 minutes long each, pretty much around there. And it's the kind of thing where if I'm feeling like I'm in the mood to watch a film, but I'm not really sure what to put on, I have often opted to put on one of these films. They're almost all gothic as well in their nature. I mean, this could also maybe be called Mexico Gothic. A lot of them have the same kind of air of the Universal horror films of the 1940s. Even though these are all made in the 60s, they all kind of have that kind of DNA and strands within them. And I think that I've been more and more interested in the way that Mexican cinema has kind of evolved, especially as some of the other releases that Indicator have put out this year in standard editions have been like La Llorona and The Phantom of the Monastery, which have been really enjoyable to watch. It is worth saying as well that these special features within these sets are superb, and I think that's what really elevates this kind of box set. For me, the films themselves are enjoyable to watch, but they're not the kind of film that I could shout out from the rooftops about being the best film I've ever seen. A lot of them are very dated, a lot of them have some issues with special effects, but a lot of the tone of them really works. You can really tell what the directors have gone for with these sets, the kind of tales that they're trying to tell. And the audio commentaries within this are brilliant. I've sat down and listened to 2 of them all the way through after watching the films. And there's some great documentaries which kind of expanded my knowledge of Mexican filmmaking generally, which again was an area that I knew nothing about before this year. So Mexico Macabre has been one of the most enjoyable sets to go through in regards to the special features and learning about a genre of film that I didn't really know anything about before. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Indicator publish in the future in regards to more kind of gothic or Mexican horror, because I believe on a recent podcast, the head of the company basically said that they've got another couple of sets like this, or 1 or 2 sets maybe, coming out again in the same kind of vein as Mexico Macabre, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Next up, another 4K release. Here we have Naked Lunch from Arrow Video. I had been waiting for this release on Blu-ray for years. I can't remember when it was, but Arrow basically hinted at the fact that they were going to release this years and years ago. I think it was after the release of Videodrome with their wonderful special edition limited release of that, and they hinted at Naked Lunch, and I was like, I want that. And Naked Lunch is one of those films where I saw it at university with one of my friends. We often joke about how weird it is. And it's one of those films that we knew nothing about going into it, and it kind of blew us both away in different kind of ways. This release from Arrow is absolutely wonderful. There are so many special features within this release, and the 4K scan of this and the presentation looks superb. It was wonderful to check it out again, to rewatch the film and relive it. And the colours within this look beautiful. A lot of the audio works really, really well, and this release is probably one of the best 4Ks that I actually own. Arrow have obviously put in a lot of work to this, and many of the documentaries and special features were really enjoyable to watch after watching the main feature again. So if you're a fan of David Cronenberg's films, I highly recommend checking out this edition of Naked Lunch. I'm assuming that the Blu-ray version also looks great as well. I know that Arrow have recently released it in standard edition as well, and if you like David Cronenberg films or you're a bit curious about checking it out, I highly, highly recommend it. It's a wonderful film, really surreal and weird. I think my favourite release that Arrow have put out from Cronenberg's work is Crash, because I think that film is absolutely brilliant. But I love their release of Videodrome, and this is another excellent David Cronenberg release to have and part of the collection. Right, the last 3 box sets are coming up now. So this is the first one and this is Pandora's Box by G.W. Pabst, and this is the new Masters of Cinema release. This is a single film release, but it has a bunch of special features, and the film looks incredible. Masters of Cinema is the company that I would really trust when watching old kind of silent cinema of the films of the 20s, the 30s, early cinema, and they do a wonderful job. I sat down and watched this the moment that it came through the post box, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. I think that Pabst is a very interesting filmmaker, and to be able to watch this in this new kind of presentation, this new restoration, it looks superb. And if you're a fan of classic or old cinema, this is one of those films that you pretty much have to watch. It is an exceptional film, especially for the time, and this restoration looks incredible. I was very impressed by this release, one of my favourite releases of the year. So my second to last box set here is another box set from Arrow Video. Now, this kind of falls in line a little bit with the Mexico Macabre set in regards to it being one that you can put on and have fun with. So this is the Arrow Video Empire of Screams box set, and this is an absolutely wonderful joy to have in the collection. This is full of a bunch of kind of horror films, sci-fi films that you would often see released on VHS. They have that kind of video feel that really shines, and for Arrow Video to put them out, it feels like the perfect label for these films. The box set contains Dungeon Master, Dolls, Cellar Dweller, Arena, and Robot Jocks. Now, I've watched a handful of these, I haven't watched all of them, but I really enjoyed watching Dolls. I thought that was a really fun film. It has those kind of schlocky, almost B-movie-esque kind of moments, but a lot of that is steeped in kind of style, and you can tell that the people who have made these films really enjoyed making the films. They're not the best films ever. Like, I'm not going to shout out about how good the actual films themselves are, but they're very enjoyable, and I've really loved watching the ones that I've seen. This box set is absolutely gorgeous, and Arrow have done a wonderful job with it. I really like the design of the set. I think the artwork is great, and if they're going to be releasing any more of these in the future, I will definitely pick up the next one because I've had so much fun working through this. There are some wonderful special features on the disc as well as a booklet to go through and read about, and Arrow have done another stellar job of releasing this type of content. I think this is great, and I've really enjoyed watching it, and it's one that I'm pleased is part of my collection. Right, so I've covered 9 or so box sets or limited edition releases this year so far, but my favourite release of potentially the past 5 years is here, and this is the Curzon Lars von Trier limited edition box set, and I absolutely adore this. Lars von Trier is one of my favourite filmmakers. I found out about him when I watched Antichrist when I was in sixth form, and I wasn't really sure what to make of it, but then since then I went and rediscovered his work at university, went and studied a bunch of his films, and I really love this box set. Lars is one of those filmmakers that has an absolutely incredible output of films. Every single one of his films is different to the other, and that's one of the reasons I really love him as a filmmaker. He's done everything in his career, from kind of more melodrama to musicals to experimental project films with the Five Obstructions. And then we also have the Depression trilogy, which is a wonderful take on different themes in regards to mental health and the kind of well-being of different characters within those films. And I absolutely adore this. This is one of the best box sets I've ever seen, and I'm so pleased that I own this. It contains 14 of his feature films. The only film it doesn't contain is Dancer in the Dark, because I think that Film 4 have the rights for that in the UK, which is a bit disappointing, but you can tell that Curzon will have tried to have Dancer in the Dark within this because it has pretty much all of his other films in there as well. It's also worth mentioning, for those that are interested, the versions of the films in the Depression trilogy, Breaking the Waves and The House That Jack Built, are the same discs from the Artificial Eye releases a couple of years ago. So they are basically the same, but it's really lovely to be able to see the Europe trilogy in the UK on Blu-ray. I know that Criterion got a version of that early last year, I think, and people were shouting and raving about how good that looked. Those transfers are in this set, and that has been wonderful to revisit. The Element of Crime looks really good on this set, and I very much enjoyed rewatching that. It also contains films like The Boss of It All, which you may not expect to have in a collection like this. It's been an absolute joy to revisit some of his works. As I say, he's one of my favourite filmmakers. I'm so pleased that Curzon have released this with the quality of production that they have. Again, the actual box art and design is gorgeous. The interior art for this set is beautiful. I don't know if anyone will have seen it, but there is an unboxing video of this box set within my channel if anyone's interested in watching that. The films included are fantastic, and this really is one of the best things in my collection, and I can't really believe that Curzon have released it, especially as their output earlier in the year was like the Wim Wenders set and the Three Colors trilogy. There was no real indication that they were going to release this, and then when it was announced, I kind of couldn't believe it myself. But this for me is my favourite box set of the year. This potentially is one of my favourite box sets in my entire collection. I absolutely adore it. I think Curzon have done a tremendous job, and I cannot wait to see what they release next in this kind of format. The other box sets that they've done have been quite interesting to watch, but this is the one that's really special to me. I have a feeling that they could release something like Haneke or Bellatar, as they released several of the films under the Artificial Eye label back in the day. But yeah, this is basically the kind of heart of my collection now, and I'm really, really pleased with it. So those are 10 of the box sets and limited edition films that I've picked up this year that I've really, really enjoyed. There are, of course, other box sets and releases that came out this year that I've really loved. The silent film Ozu box set from the BFI was great. Eureka also put out another wonderful box set with Zulawski's films. The Bruce Lee set from Arrow would have definitely made this list if I'd have bought it. For me, that was one of those box sets that was too expensive to really commit to. I think the retail for that was like £145, and when I looked at what was included within it, there was essentially like 5 or 6 films, and for me, I don't think that price is really worth that amount of films that you're going to have within the set. But I have since picked up one of the standard releases that they've got for Fist of Fury, and I'm really looking forward to checking that out. Indicator have been wonderful. They did the release of From Hollywood to Heaven, which is a really fascinating box set and exploration of the Allman family and the way that they produce low-budget films in Hollywood and in America, and that was really interesting to work through. It's not quite made this list, but it's one that I've dipped in and out of every now and again if I feel like I'm in the mood for that. Indicator have also released another Universal Noir box set, and it's lovely to have more film noir within the Blu-ray collection. Indicator always do a really nice job with that, and for me they've been a label that I've enjoyed tremendously this year. Arrow have also released some interesting repackages within their Giallo film collections, and as someone who never owned any of the other Giallo films that they've released, it's been wonderful picking up a couple of those collections when they've been on sale. It's been wonderful to be finally introduced to Radiance films and seeing what they've been putting out and the kind of films that they're going to be releasing in the future, and I'm really excited for that, as well as supporting things like Second Run and seeing where that label's moving forward to. There's obviously been some omissions as well because it's been hard to afford and keep up within this hobby. Collecting is an expensive hobby. For those of you out there who do collect more than 1 or 2 labels, you're going to know how much things end up costing at the end of the month, especially when there's so many places and labels out there producing very high quality content and films. But I think for my money, the ones that I've kind of spoken about here have been the ones that I've most enjoyed and think are well worth looking into if you're thinking of picking up 1 or 2 things. And I cannot wait to see where physical media goes in the next year. 2024 is going to be a really fun year. I know that Indicator have some great box sets planned. I've got some good feelings about the way that Radiance is moving, and I'm excited to see if Curzon are going to release anything similar to the magnitude of the Lars von Trier box set. But yeah, if you've seen any of the box sets or you like this video, please comment down below. What was your favourite box set or limited edition release on Blu-ray or 4K this year in 2023? I'm always up for a discussion in the comments, and if any of you want to talk about any of the films, please let me know and I'll be more than happy to. But I hope you've enjoyed the video. I've enjoyed making it, and I'll see you in the new year.